Rape! Rape! Oh, somebody help me! The scream tore through the quiet afternoon like a knife through cloth. Rape! Rape! Oh, somebody help me! In the village of Umuoria, where mud brick compounds sat close together under the weight of ancient iroko trees, such a cry was like setting fire to dry harmattan grass. Doors flew open, women abandoned their cooking pots, men dropped their hoes and machetes, children scattered like startled chickens as adults rushed toward the sound. The voice came from Mama Adaeze's compound, a widow who lived alone in a house that had seen better days, its walls cracked like old skin, its zinc roof rusted from years of rain. By the time the first villagers burst through her wooden gate, they found a scene that would burn itself into the memory of Umuoria forever. Mama Adaeze, 48 years old, with a wrapper hastily tied around her chest, clutched the shirt of young Obinna with both hands. Her face was twisted in anguish, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her wrapper was slightly disheveled, her headscarf askew. "He tried to force himself on me," she wailed, her voice cracking with what seemed like terror. This boy I trusted, he tried to rape me in my own house." Obinna, 27 years old, stood frozen in shock. His eyes were wide with disbelief, his mouth opening and closing like a fish pulled from water. "Mama Adaeze, why are you doing this? Why are you lying? I didn't—" "Liar!" she shrieked, shaking him by his shirt. "You came into my room. You tried to force yourself on me." More villagers poured into the compound. Papa Okafor, the eldest man on the street, pushed through the crowd. Chief Emeka, whose word carried weight in the village, arrived with his walking stick. Women clustered together, their faces hardened with disgust. Young men flexed their muscles, ready for justice. "What is happening here?" Papa Okafor demanded. "He tried to rape me," Mama Adaeze repeated, her voice rising to a fresh wail. She released Obinna's shirt only to point an accusing finger at him, her hand trembling. "I called him to help me fix my window latch, and when he came inside, he locked the door and grabbed me." "That's not true!" Obinna's voice finally found strength, desperation making it sharp. "I came to help her fix the window like she asked. Nothing happened. I didn't touch her. I was leaving when she suddenly grabbed my shirt and started screaming." "Shut up!" Chief Emeka's voice boomed across the compound. "You dare open your mouth to speak after what you've done?" "But I didn't do anything," Obinna pleaded, looking around at the sea of angry faces. These were people he'd known all his life, people he'd helped, people who knew him. "Please, you know me. You know I would never—" "We know what we heard," said Mama Ngozi, one of the market women. Her face was set like stone. "We heard her screaming. We saw you in her room." "With your own 2 legs, you entered a widow's room," another woman spat. "What were you looking for there if not trouble?" Obinna's heart hammered against his ribs. This couldn't be happening. Just minutes ago, he'd been working at his carpentry shop, planning his wedding to Chidindima, thinking about the new chair set he was building for the chief's son. Then Mama Adaeze had passed by, asking if he could quickly help her fix a stubborn window latch. He'd hesitated. His own mother had warned him about the widow, told him to stay away from her, saying inappropriate things whenever she saw him alone. But it was broad daylight. Other people were around. What harm could there be in a simple repair? Now his whole world was collapsing. "Seize him," Chief Emeka commanded. Rough hands grabbed Obinna from all sides. Young men he'd played football with, men he'd helped build their houses, now gripped his arms like he was a dangerous criminal. "Please, listen to me," Obinna begged, struggling against their hold. "I'm telling the truth. I didn't do anything to her. She's lying." "Why would she lie?" Papa Okafor asked, his wrinkled face grave. "What does she gain from lying about such a thing?" It was a question Obinna couldn't answer, at least not in a way they would believe. How could he tell them that for months Mama Adaeze had been pursuing him, that she'd made advances, told him how much she desired him, that a young, strong man like him was wasted on a girl like Chidindima, that just last week she'd cornered him behind the market and whispered things that made her skin crawl? Who would believe that story when she stood before them now, looking like a victim, tears flowing freely? "Take him to the Igwe's palace," Chief Emeka declared. The crowd murmured in agreement, a sound like distant thunder. In Umuoria, rape was not just a crime, it was an abomination, an offense against the land itself. And everyone knew the law. A rapist caught in the act would be hanged immediately. No delays, no appeals, justice swift and final. As they dragged him towards the palace, Obinna caught sight of his mother, Mama Obinna, running towards them from their compound. Her wrapper was flying behind her, her face stricken with horror. "What is happening? Where are you taking my son?" she cried. "Your son is a rapist," someone shouted back. The word hit her like a physical blow. She stumbled, caught herself, then pushed through the crowd until she reached Obinna's side. "Nwam, my son, what have they accused you of?" "Mama, I didn't do it," Obinna said quickly, his voice breaking. "I swear by our ancestors, I didn't do what she said. You know me, Mama. You raised me. Have I ever—" "I know you didn't," she said fiercely, gripping his arm even as the men tried to pull him away. "But Obinna, why? Why did you go to that woman's house? Didn't I warn you about her? Didn't I tell you to stay away? She said it was just to fix a window. And you believed her?" His mother's voice was anguished now. "You believed her after everything I told you?" There was no time to answer. The crowd surged forward, sweeping them all towards the Igwe's palace like a river in flood season. The palace of Igwe Okonkwo sat at the center of Umuoria, a sprawling compound with walls painted in traditional patterns of white and ochre. The Igwe's obi, his personal quarters, was a large circular building with a thatched roof, surrounded by smaller buildings for his wives and children. By the time they arrived, it seemed half the village had followed, the palace courtyard filled with people, men, women, even children perched in trees to see what would happen. The talking drums had already spread the news to the far corners of Umuoria. A rape case, a serious matter. Everyone wanted to witness justice. The Igwe's attendants tried to maintain order, but the crowd's energy was wild, dangerous. Voices rose in accusation and anger. "Hang him! No mercy for rapists! Make an example of him!" Inside the meeting hall, Igwe Okonkwo sat on his carved wooden throne, draped in his ceremonial cloth, with his ivory staff of office resting against his shoulder. When Obinna was brought before him, pushed roughly to his knees, the Igwe's face registered something unexpected. Shock. "Obinna?" the Igwe said, his voice carrying across the now silent hall. "Son of Mama Obinna, the carpenter?" "Yes, my lord," Obinna managed, his head bowed. The Igwe knew him. Everyone in Umuoria knew Obinna. He was the young man who repaired things for free for the elderly, who helped build the new church roof without asking for payment, who walked old Mama Ikene to the market every Afor day because her legs were weak, who was engaged to Chidinuma, the school teacher's daughter, in a match that the whole village had celebrated. This same Obinna accused of rape? "What is the meaning of this?" the Igwe demanded, looking from Obinna to the crowd. Mama Adaeze stepped forward, and the crowd parted for her. She had composed herself somewhat, but her face still showed the right amount of distress. She fell to her knees before the throne. "My lord, I beg you, give me justice. This man I trusted, who I asked to help me with a simple repair, he tried to rape me in my own house." A roar rose from the crowd. The Igwe raised his staff for silence. "You say he tried to rape you. Did he succeed? No, my lord. I fought him. I screamed. That's when the villagers came and saved me. These are very serious accusations, the Igwe said slowly. His eyes moved to Obinna. What do you say to this, young man? Obinna raised his head. His eyes were red, but they were clear, the eyes of someone telling the truth. My lord, I did not touch this woman. I went to her house only to fix a window latch, nothing more. When I finished and was about to leave, she grabbed my shirt and started screaming. I don't know why she's doing this, but I am innocent. Liar! Mama Adaeze shrieked. You lie before the throne, before the gods! The crowd erupted again, voices blending into a roar of outrage. Hang him! The law must take its course. Justice for Mama Adaeze! Chief Emeka stepped forward, his walking stick striking the ground for emphasis. My lord Igwe, the law of this land is clear. A rapist caught in the act must be hanged immediately. The people demand justice. The Igwe's hand tightened on his staff. He looked at Obinna, really looked at him. He saw a young man trembling, yes, but not with the guilt of the caught. He trembled with the fear of the innocent facing something they cannot control. Something wasn't right about this case, but the law was the law, and the people were crying for blood. My lord, Papa Okafor added his voice, we cannot allow such evil to go unpunished. If we do not act swiftly, what message does that send? That any man can force himself on our women without consequence? The Igwe sat silent for a long moment, the weight of the crown, of leadership, of judgment pressed down on him like a physical thing. Outside, the sun was beginning its descent toward the western horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. Finally, he spoke. I have heard both sides, but this matter, it troubles me. Something about this case is not as clear as you all believe. Murmurs rippled through the crowd, murmurs of disbelief and growing anger. However, the Igwe continued, raising his voice, I am Igwe. I am the one who sits on this throne, and I say that before any man is condemned to death, I must be certain, absolutely certain of his guilt. My lord, Chief Emeka began. Silence. The Igwe staff struck the ground. I have made my decision. Take Obinna to the palace cell. He will remain there while I investigate this matter further. I will give my final judgment when I am satisfied that I have the complete truth. The crowd exploded in protest. This is not the law. The Igwe is protecting a rapist. He's siding with him. What kind of justice is this? But the Igwe's word was still law, for now. His guards moved forward, forming a protective circle around Obinna as they led him toward the palace cells at the back of the compound. As Obinna was being taken away, he caught sight of Chidinma at the edge of the crowd. His Chidinma, his fiancée. Their eyes met across the distance. Her face was wet with tears, but the look in her eyes was something she'd never seen before. It was doubt. Chidinma! He called out, but the guards pushed him forward and she turned away, disappearing into the crowd. His mother fought her way through to walk beside him as far as she could. Mama, he said, his voice breaking, I didn't do it. You believe me, don't you? I believe you, my son, she said fiercely, walking quickly to keep pace with the guards. I know you. I carried you for 9 months. I raised you. I know the man you are. But Obinna, why? Why did you go to her house after everything I told you? She said she needed help. It was just a window latch, I thought. They reached the cell, a small, dark room with thick mud walls and a heavy wooden door reinforced with iron. The guards pushed Obinna inside. I'm sorry, Mama, Obinna whispered through the closing door. Her mother pressed her face close to the bars that made up the small window in the door. Sorry doesn't save you from a rope, my son. Sorry doesn't bring back the dead. She paused, wiping her eyes. But I will fight for you. Your mother will fight for you until her last breath. Do you hear me? Yes, Mama. And you stay strong. You didn't do this thing, so the truth will come out. It must come out." But even as she said those words, standing outside that cell in the fading afternoon light, Mama Obinna felt the cold grip of fear around her heart. Because in Umuoria, in matters of rape, truth didn't always matter as much as what people believed. And right now, almost everyone believed her son was guilty. To be continued in Season 2. Follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to see the next season of this story.